to talk about shoes today.
Shoes.
Since a lot of you guys have been asking us what our preferred shoes are for acrobatics.
No shoes.
No shoes?
No shoes.
So Justin has some great feedback on shoes.
Oh, shoes.
He really hates these, but I love them. I love these. These are CrossFit shoes. This one's brand new. I don't do CrossFit, but I really love these shoes though.
You see, Rash is arguing off of emotion. He loves the shoes. We don't care. We care about results, data, testing. Boom.
I actually hate shoes. I don't like wearing shoes when I tumble or trick. I actually prefer to go barefoot. I feel lighter in the sand. The concrete, I do need some protection.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes, especially if I'm doing a bigger trick, but these are my preferred go-to shoes for concrete.
Let's see this real quick. All right, so you got some toe flexibility right there.
Yeah.
Nothing really that direction. They are fairly light though. Nice thick sole. Shoes. Really, really thick soles in midsection, and you can't round it in this direction at all. So,
what about this one? Those are also CrossFit shoes.
A little lighter. Yeah, I mean, you got some right here, so you can actually hollow or arch, you know, your foot. If you're gonna stand on something, you can get around it a little bit.
Yeah.
Fairly light. Still thick sole.
I actually don't think these are that thick compared to what I used to wear. I used to wear Asics running shoes, and those were thick. They were designed for joggers, track and field athletes. And ironically, the shoes that I thought would protect me would actually get me hurt the most. Super thick heels, like at least an inch.
Puts you into that weird body position form.
Yeah.
So my personal opinion is, unless you absolutely need to, don't ever wear shoes. People, I love actually telling this to people because they look at me really weird.
Yeah.
The truth is, and this is, I believe, an objective truth, but you can think of it as my subjective truth if you'd like. The truth is, shoes are bad for you. Simple as that. Shoes are bad. And I'll explain it in the best way I can. Most of you out there are athletes, you've done something, or even if it's not an athletic injury, you have at some point injured yourself and been in a cast, right? Maybe a cast, a sling, or whatever. Let's pretend for a second you broke your wrist. I've done that one before, wasn't fun. You go in that cast. You're in there for a long period of time, right? What happens when you finally take the cast off? Is your arm as strong? Is your mobility the same? Is your muscle, dexterity the same? No, you atrophy. You lose strength, you lose your range of motion, you lose your ability to absorb, to produce power, all of these things. Every single day that you put on a shoe, you're putting a fucking cast on your foot. Look how flexible your foot is. It moves in all these different directions, it hollows, it arches, it moves side to side, all this stuff. When you put on something with a thicker sole especially, but something that doesn't have a lot of flexibility, you're putting your foot into a cast. 8, 12, 16 hours a day, sometimes even more. During that time, your foot can no longer move through its normal range of motion. You are atrophying your foot. You are making yourself weaker. That's my personal opinion on it. For those of you that know my backstory, 4.5 years ago, I had a really big training accident. For those of you that speak the lingo, did a big cash vault over about an 8-foot gap, went into a split step, round off layout dub full, landed wrong, snapped both ankles, severed both Achilles tendons. Biggest thing all my podiatrist told me was don't ever fucking wear shoes. They're like, if you want to get back to where you were, if you want to have that strength, that range of flexibility, you cannot, with all these weak, fucked up muscles, then put them into a cast and live in a cast. You've got to be barefoot. And I definitely feel a significant difference compared to how I used to train with big shoes on versus now being barefoot.
Yeah, I do too, definitely.
I will say, I definitely think there are a lot of scenarios, like when I go to competitions, parkour competitions, speed competitions, skill comps and stuff, I will wear shoes. And there are times when I am training on certain objects like concrete, or if I'm gonna be on a bunch of bars and I know I'm gonna be walking on them, I don't want a little bit of sweat on my feet to cause me to slip and fall to my death. So I will wear shoes, in which case I am a big fan of minimalist shoes. This is my personal favorite shoe. These are Feiyues. I don't know, I've heard like 18 names for them. Chinese martial arts, these are the Shaolin Kung Fu ones. They used to be about 12 bucks, which is why I loved them so much. They're really cheap. Now they're about 20, 25 on Amazon because they become so popular for trickers and free runners and stuff. But check this shit out. So they weigh very little. They're basically just a fabric, a nice thick fabric sock with a bunch of rubber on the bottom. But here's the reason I really like them. So take your shoe from before.
Yeah.
Compact that into the tiniest ball you can. Smash that bitch up. Cool. Roll this bitch. This is a brand new one, by the way, so this one hasn't been broken in. This one is straight from the factory, no extra stuff. You know, I haven't worn it a bunch yet. Look at that thing. You put your foot in that, not only do you now have some extra grip on the bottom and some protection from that sting or that slap, or at least that little bit of concrete when you smack it, but you don't at all impede your dexterity of your foot and your ability to move it around, so you're not atrophying your muscles, you're just giving a little layer of armor.
Yeah. So when I got my injury, when I twisted my ankle, rolled it, I was wearing shoes like this, but actually higher than this. It was
Higher than that? Fuck.
Yeah, I believe they were Air Max, or I don't know, something with a crazy air bubble in it. And I thought it was gonna protect my feet from all the brutal landings on concrete. And sure enough, I did a back handspring Arabian, and I landed slightly at an angle,
Oh, no.
and then boom, twisted my ankle. And I was out for like a month. No, longer than that, actually, a couple months. The rest of the summer, and it was horrible. And then the previous injury, and tell me what you think about this. I feel like it actually protected me, but at the same time, I feel like it made me develop bad habits. I had some extra protection in my heels, so I front flipped this 12-foot gap downhill, and I landed on my heels, and it just blew up my air bubbles. I heard the air come out, and a bruised heel for like 2 months. So in that sense, I feel like I was picking up bad habits because I thought I had protection. So I was always landing in my heels, just reckless, and I didn't care because the shoes always protected me. So when I took my shoes off, I did not know how to land properly.
I think you actually hit the proverbial nail on the head, man. Like, that's one of the things at Firestorm, when we go and we train and we teach all of our students and stuff, is we put them all in minimalist shoes.
Yeah.
Minimalist shoes for the first couple months of their training, and then after that, we encourage kids to be barefoot, or, you know, at best minimalist shoes. But we have kids come in, especially like Nike has their Freerunner shoes, and you're like, oh, these must be made for free runners and designed for free runners, and they have this check out all these rocks in there. That's gonna feel good when this whole thing absorbs and compresses in your foot, right?
Yeah.
These things are the fucking worst. Not only can they tear, which then, you know, everything slips, then you're gonna get really fucked.
Yeah.
But I think Arash is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
If you train a sport with a handicap forever and all of a sudden your handicap's gone and you try to do it, it's not gonna work because you don't rise to the level of your expectations, you fall to the level of your training. And if you train yourself with this handicap, once the handicap's gone, you're going to do that same training, you're going to make that mistake and you're going to injure yourself. As soon as I got into the shoes, everyone I meet that has these shoes, especially with a square edge, it's so easy. All you have to do is land at a certain position, boop, and because it's an edge, it can only go one way or the other. Sooner or later, you're gonna land a little too far and it's just gonna tip over. If you've got these nice rounded edges on here, you can land at almost anything and there's no point at which it tips and snaps over.
Yeah. For me, I feel like it's a nice medium. It's in like the middle. It's not as bad as the Asics, but it's still not as good as those right there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends. Like, so these ones, I love them, but also if I'm doing big precisions or concrete work, if I'm doing anything more than like a 5 or 6 foot drop, I don't like these ones as much.
Yeah.
I like them because they force me to have good, proper form.
Yeah.
Because they'll give me a little protection, and you can see that, you know, there's a little bit of heel there, but they will also slap you upside the face when you do it wrong.
Yeah.
But once you get above that, if I do bad form from like an 8 or 10 foot drop, this is not going to protect me. It's going to be a bad heel bruise, you know, a bad arch bruise. So
what would you wear for a bigger jump?
slowly but surely, I then go to these ones. These are the Asics Matte Flex. They are like the $60 version of these $20 ones. They're just a little nicer. You can feel these ones are a bit more worn out. I use these for trampoline shows and circ shows. They're just a little tiny bit thicker, a little stickier, a little nicer.
Yeah.
And they also go up to the ankle, so they hold on really well and don't move around. These ones, boop, real easy for the heel to pop out if you're going too hard. So these ones are a little better, but again, the arch, I mean, you can see how much that arch is, so there's not much, you can see how much that curves. There's not a lot of protection there. These ones are the same style, but if you feel the arch and you feel the rubber right here,
yeah,
it's a little bit thicker, a little bit stronger, so it's just a little tougher.
And these are, sorry, are these wrestling shoes or what?
Yeah, those are technically wrestling shoes. These are my feel like the king of Firestorm shoes with my golden shoesies. But if I'm gonna go out and do concrete stuff, I like these ones.
Yeah.
I unfortunately could not find the ones with the good bottoms because I hate these little nubby bottoms. They don't stick very well. But these are Onitsuka Tigers. I think they're called like 811s or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember off the top of my head. But these ones are nice because they're still very moldable, still very flexible. You can see in every direction. But the difference is they have good, strong arch support, and they've got a heel, but not such a thick heel. The only downside is they do have that edge right along there that I don't really like, especially when you can see it.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way so you can see. If you guys look, it curves inward, so it gives you a fine tip to be able to roll over. So you gotta be a little careful. But you know, if you've practiced with minimalist shoes, usually you can kind of ignore that kind of stuff. But these are good for concrete stuff, because if you do fuck up a little or have bad form, you get to live without a heel bruise.